Hey, this is the Today we're doing Advent of Code 2016, Day 10, Balance Bots. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prompt. Um, there's a story here about a factory with bots passing along chips. What we really need to know is we get this like kind of unhelpful, but I mean this is the instruction set of the bots, and so there's a handful of instructions that say that a value number five, chip number five starts by going to bot two, value number three starts by going to bot one, value number two starts by going to bot two, and then whenever a bot has two, we can now figure out where it passes. We're setting up a flow, so bot 2 gives its low 1 to bot 1 and its high 1 to bot 0. Bot 1 gives its low to output 1 and its high to bot 0. Bot 0 gives output of 2, or it's low to output 2 and it's high to output 0. And so once we see that bot 2 has two values, we can say, oh, okay, well then it's going to pass, let's see, 5 goes to bot 0 and the low one of 2 goes to bot 1. Now they each, bot 0 doesn't even have 2 at this point, but bot 1 does. Now bot 1 is going to compare, what did it get? 2, no, yeah, 2 and 3, so now we can know how to pass, etc. And so we can figure out the flow of these things. I think we're making some assumptions here, but I think we're going to say that each bot is only going to have, things aren't going to it's not like a flow where things are constantly changing, but that really it's the constant flow. 5 is always going to go to 2. 2 is always going to pass that to set, etc. So we can kind of assume that a bot will only have 2 chips coming through it. But we'll test that. So we're supposed to figure out, based on the instructions, what is the number of the bot that compares 61 and 17. So let's dive in. Let's go take a look at our puzzle here. We'll do genday script on day 10. This script of mine, you source it, it changes in the directory, and it's going to pull the puzzle input here, as well as make some stubs for me. I have a video describing it. I'll put a link here. Our puzzle input is long. We got 231 rows here. So and we can see it has going to output and to bot. That's good. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and I'm actually gonna, before we write tests, and we're gonna do some real bare bones definitions of the class we're gonna work with, because we're gonna make a bot class, is what I'm thinking for this. So what we're going to do, let's come up here and we'll just start to define a class, bot, def, under init. And are we going to take anything from under init? No, I think we're not. We're just going to start. We're going to need to keep track of things like self.high and self.low. And I guess we can just initialize all of these to none. We're going to need, oops. We're also going to need to know the self.h type. So we need to know, like, is it passing to a, because if I store the number in high and low, which will help me for like purposes of tracking things, I also want to know the type, and I don't want to bother if it's an output, I'm going to treat it differently than if it's a bot. So we'll start again by we're going to make all these none, because we're not going to know at the time we create a bot necessarily all of them, because we could, thinking ahead, I'm going to take a line. Let's say I take the line bot 127 gives low to blah blah high. I'm going to know the low output and the high output at that point, but I'm not going to know the chips it holds. Alternatively, if I get value 23 goes to bot 138, I'm going to need to create a bot 138, but I'm only going to know its value. I'm not going to know its high and low. So at init, I'm going to just set everything to none. I'll set self.chips. We're going to need some way to track the chips it has. So we'll start it empty. And then we're going to need to be able to set the chips, but rather than just like setting the chips directly, I'm going to do def we'll call it get chip. So C, because I'm going to be often handing a chip to a thing. And what I want to basically do is say self.chips is equal to, so we can say self.chips plus C. And then what we can do, because we want to make sure, what I'm thinking is I'm going to always make sure that it's sorted. So now I can always just get the low one by getting the 0 and the high by getting the thing. And then the last thing I want to do is I'm going to want some kind of way to say, like, is it ready to process? And I'm going to actually use a cool thing here called a property. And by doing that, so now I can say def, let's say like ready to pass self, And this, we should be putting returns in here. So this will return bool. And let's just put that as pass for the moment. I probably should have put this as pass as well. Let's see. This will be an int. This will be none. Well, I guess should I do these two? Int, string. This will be a list of int. Do from typing import list. All right. I think we're in good spot here. We might. Okay, I think we're good. I probably should have waited and let's for the moment, let's make this pass like this. Okay, so we haven't written tests yet. We just wanted to find the bot. So now we've got the bot. Let's write some tests. So now we can come in here and we are going to use this today. So we're going to grab this, control there. So we now are using our fixture here for example 1. We'll grab our example data. Here's our pretend stuff here. So if we grab this, we'll put a new file here, example1.txt, paste this in. Now we have access to it in our tests, so this fixture is going to load that file and pass it in. So we can come down here and we can make a def test parse example1. And what do we want to do? So if we parse how are we going to parse our input? I guess is the question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, and I'm thinking we're going to create a list of bots that we can reference, or maybe it's a dictionary of bots. Maybe a default dictionary bot actually would be really useful. And then what we can, so we want to make sure we have this bot. So I guess what I'm going to say then is we'll say puzzle, we'll call it like bots equals aoc.parse puzzle, in this case it's example 1. And now what do we want to know about bots? So for example, we could assert that like puzzle input here, for example, bot2, let's see, bot2 has the chips 5 and 2. After parsing, we can say bots sub2 dot chips is equal to 2, 5. And we want to make sure it's sorted. Let's start with just that. So if we run this now with terminal, let's see, and I've got it set here for PyTest. I have a video on how to set that up so I can run PyTest through here. So I hit F5 to run it, and we can see bots2. So we don't right now we haven't even defined parse yet, so this is fine. Let's go back here and start to think about what parse looks like. So now parse is going to so we're going to say, we'll say bots equals, and I'm going to want default dict here, I think. That's going to, we'll show you why in a minute, but typing, collections, import, default dict, perfect. We're going to make this, bots is going to be a default dict of bot. What that means is if I go to get bots of a key that doesn't exist, I'm just going to get a new bot, which is exactly what I don't want to be checking. Does this bot already exist? Like I've already processed one of the lines, but not the other. So now I can just always get that. So I can say for line in puzzle input dot, let's make sure we dot strip it, dot strip to get rid of the new line, any new lines, and then we can split lines here. And we can do t tokens is equal to line dot split. I think the default is to do space, but I like to just explicitly stay that. And now we can do a match on T0. We'll do case, and let's take a look at our input here, value versus bot. So if we have a value, what are we going to do? We're going to then take, let's see, so value, we need the chip number, which is going to be number 0, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 and 5 are these numbers we care about. And values, I'm assuming value is always going to a bot. We should say, we're going to call this like chip and bot. I already have a bot. No, I don't. Okay. Equals t sub 1, comma t sub 5. And I'm gonna make these integers because it'll make it easier to play with. So I can do a map int onto making this an array like that, and I'm good. I should have a couple ints there. And now what I want to do is I want to say bots sub bot dot get chip, because we're giving it a chip of chip. So now we've given that bot to the chip, or that chip to the bot. I think that's all we need to do there. So now we can do a case bot, and in this case we're going to say, what do we need to know from this one? I probably should just split these, but bot 2. So we need number 1, 5, 6, and 10, 11. 1, 5, 6, 10, 11. So T1, T5, oops, let's try that. T6, T10, T11. What are these things going to be? They're going to be the bot number, the type, the low number. This will be bot low type high h type. So now with those things, we've now set those. We've now pulled the information we need out of here. So that's good. So what do we want to do with that? Well, we want to say first I'm going to convert bot low and high to be ints. So I guess we'll do might actually move this to another row. So we'll say bot low high equals. We'll do the same trick we did before. Int this, and we'll need to pull T1, T6, and T11 there. Now we can get rid of that here. See the types. We can get rid of view. Okay, so now we have strings that are the types and ints that are the bot numbers or the numbers. So now we can say bot sub bot low equals low. We can say bot sub bot dot high equals high. In fact, we could probably do all this up here, but we're doing fine here. Bot sub bot dot L type equals L type, and bot sub bot dot H type equals H type. So now I think this is all we need. We've now parsed all of it. Let's come down here and return bots. And let's run our test and see what happens here. Cert empty equals, okay, so we're still not quite getting there. Let's see. We need to, let's put a return here. Let's just put a break here and we can take a look and see what is bots at this point. Bots is a default dict with 3 things, with 3 bot objects. What are we testing here? Like bot 2 we wanted to test is high 0, low 1. That is not what we expected. I thought bot 2 was supposed to get, maybe am I looking at the example wrong? Value 5 goes to bot 2. Oh, okay. Chips. We're not getting chips is the problem. So let's come back here and let's put a break right here and rerun. And let's see, debug console, chip is 5, bot is 2, so that's what we expect. Let's actually step into this. First, we're going to create our bot. Why are we creating our bot there? Oh, we've never defined get chip. Sweet. That could really be our problem. Let's try to run this again. And now we can remove this, run, remove this, run, and we're passing. Sweet. So we have what we're looking for here. We can add a few more tests just to make sure. So we can say like bot 1 is going to have value 3, bot 0 is going to have none. Let's go back to our test here. Bots 1 dot chips is equal to 3. Assert bots 0 dot chip equal to an empty thing. We can F5 and run this. We're still passing very nicely. We can do an assert bots 2 dot low. We'll do one or two more of these, but bots2 low is 1 and high is 0. Assert bots2 dot high equal to 0. We have 5 this. Still passing. So I feel like we're parsing this the way we wanted it to. So that's good. I also have some things I want to like assume that I think is right, but I don't know for sure. And so I was thinking, I'm going to do test parse assumptions, example 1, and we'll start like this. And so we can also do something like, what if I want to say, like, okay, I'm going to assert that len b for b in bots of values, so of all the bots, if b dot, what is this, what do I call it, ready to pass. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say that assert that equals 1. My assumption is that there's only going to be one bot at the beginning that's ready to pass. Is that a valid assumption? I'm not sure. We can run that. We know that's going to work on the test data, right? Can't use a generator there. I got to use a length. I use an actual list. It's definitely going to work on the test data if I do this right. Let's see. What is bots here? What? Run this again and check it out. Syntax error from length. Oh, because of course I still need the parentheses just because it can't be a generator. This here, let's run this and see. So I get 0 equals that. So do we define ready to pass? We probably didn't define it yet. Okay, so we're now testing our ready to pass. So what makes it ready to pass? There we go. Ready to pass is going to happen if the length of chips is greater than 1, really. So we'll say len self dot chips greater than 1. We'll run this now. And we pass. So we're actually passing. What I want to do now, the reason I made this a separate test, is I want to actually run this on the puzzle input as well. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to make another fixture. And we'll just do input.text. And we'll call this puzzle. And we'll come down here. So I could, this is a little bit tricky. I've had to look this up recently. It's part of the reason I thought it'd be good to show this here. I want to kind of do a combination of fixtures and parameterizing. And the way you have to do this in PyTest is a little bit dumb. So what we're going to do is we're going to do pytest.mark.parameterize, and we are going to pass it, we'll call it fixture. And what you have to do here is actually pass it the string names of the fixtures. So example 1 and puzzle, if I can spell puzzle. And then you pass it fixture like this, and then you're going to pass it another fixture here, which is called request, which is like a built-in thing. And so now what I can do is I can say, what do I call this here? We'll say data. We'll say, yeah, data equals request dot get fixture. Is it just get fixture? Let's get fixture value on fixture, and so now I pass the string example 1 in, and this will give me example 1. So now I can come here and put data here, and now I'm going to actually run this on both the puzzle input and the test input. And we're still passing, which is cool, and you see there's an extra test now. There's 3 instead of 2. So that means I actually know now that there's actually one bot in ready to pass I can assert that as well. And I can do things like, now maybe I can do some checks to see this. So we can do this like assert, what if I make sure like all of the highs get set. So we could say all of b for b in bots.values. So we can say b dot high is not none. So that's like when I create one of these things, that will check to make sure I'm parsing. Every time I find a value, I also find a high and a low. Well, at least a high, and it still passes. So that's cool. So I can, just to be like super careful, I can come here and do also a low is not none. I could do things like say b dot l type in, let's say, in bot comma output, I think I called it. We'll find out if we fail this test. If I spell type right. Oh, there's none of them. Syntax helps. So I'm still passing here, so this is cool. So I can do this, and I can change this to H type. So now I've just made sure, I've just validated that all of my input is parsing correctly. Every bot has an H type that's one of these two, an L type that's one of these two. It has a high and a low that's set. So now I can have confidence that I'm parsing my data correctly. And I'm even the complicated puzzle example. Okay, we're still running tests for parse, and we are 20 minutes in. So let's go. Let's see if I think we'll be in a good spot to solve from here though. So now what do we need to do is we actually need to do the main. Let's move to part one. For part one, we are going to, let's better pull this up. We want to know the value when 61 is compared to 17. So let's come over here, and for day 10, oh, yeah, we'll come here. We'll say we got our parse function. We're happy with that. Part one, we're gonna need to call like a target equals let's say target list int equals 1761 is our default. And what are we going to do here? So let's first write our test. So we can say I'm going to go ahead and parameterize this because we're going to make a couple other tests just to make sure, because the puzzle input's kind of dumb. But I know from this they want to know, so that we know, like, okay, initially bot 1 starts on that. So bot 2 is going to compare 2 to 5. So if we say we're just going to use, let's see, we're just going to pass it. Do we need to pass fixture data here? We do. So we're going to say fixture and expected. And then the fixture is going to be, the first one is just going to be example 1. Oh no, I don't need to pass the fixture here. I can pass the fixture down here. Done. Okay, so we just want to say target and expected. And so the target in the beginning is going to be, if we wanted to know 2, 5, I think that was it. Let's double check one more time. 2 to 5. Okay. We want to know 2, 5. We expect the result to be 2. And so if we run, so now we're going to, this is going to be target and expected, and we're also going to need example 1. So we're going to parse example 1. The parsed input is going to be that. It's going to be this will be bots. We're going to pass bots into here with target equals target, and the result should be expected. So with that, what we're basically going to say is when our target is 2, 5, if we pass in target equals 2, 5 here, we should get back 2 from the thing. If we run this, we're going to get none equals 2, I hope. None equals 2, and these other ones are not even set, so that's perfect. Now we can come here and we can say, let's think of how we're going to parse this. I'm going to create a queue. I'm going to use a deck again. I'm in a deck lately. Like this. We're going to say queue equals deck. And let's just do, I think it's going to be easier if we track this by number. So I'm going to do bot num for bot num comma bot in bot dot items if bot, oh, I don't have bots yet. What do I have? Let's call this bots. If bot dot ready to pass. So that'll give me a starting queue of 1. And now I can say while queue. And what we're going to do is we're going to parse that one, and then hopefully at the end we're going to come back and we're going to add more to our queue. So we'll say bot num equals queue dot hop left. So we'll get the first one off the queue. Now we can say bot equals bots bot num. We can say if bot dot shipped dot equals target. Like if we found our thing, return bot num. Otherwise, we're going to process it. So we'll say if bot dot l type equals target. bot. So if we have a bot, we're going to pass some chips. So we'll say bot.low. We get the lower bot dot get chip. And we're going to pass bot.chips.0. And then we'll say if the bot.h type, we don't right now output we don't care about. It doesn't affect our answer. So if it's an output, we're just going to do nothing. Bot.high get chip bot chips.1. So we're going to pass each of the chips on. And then just to make sure we don't, well, so now this bot.low and bot.high now could have two chips. They might not, they might. We'll say q dot, in fact, actually, let's put it up here. If we pass it a chip, we'll say q dot append bot.low. Now, there's a chance we've only got one chip there, so we're gonna have to do a check somewhere. We can check it here, or we can check it at the top. I think I'm just gonna check it at the top because it's one less line. High. So we add both of those to the queue. And that might be all we need to do. Oh, so and then we need to come up here and we say bot num num. So we say if not bot dot ready to pass. So if it's not ready to pass, we just need to continue. So we don't need to worry about. It'll get added back in later. I guess that's probably it. I wonder if we should make this a set instead of a, because I can't, but I don't think I can sort a set. So hopefully we don't hit any loops or anything. We might be causing ourselves trouble down the line, but or we can come up here actually and say, oops, not ready to pass. If c dot in self dot chips. That way, if we pass the same chip to it again somehow, it's not gonna add it. So that way we keep it unique. Okay, that feels good. So let's see what happens now, because presumably we're going to hit this bottom number at some point. Let's run this and see. Nice, we actually passed. So I don't know if you remember up here in our tests, we've got these two empty ones that are still failing, but we actually are no longer failing this one. So now we can do some other things, like let's say, where's our example here? Bot 2 had those two, so now bot 1 compares value 2 and value 3. So let's check that. We could do, if our target was 2, 3, then we should see the answer is bot 1. We're down to one failing test, so we're still, let's just, for the sake of completeness, bot 0 has 2 microchips, 3 and 5. So if we were comparing 3, 5, we should have an answer of 0. We're passing our tests. I wonder if we're solving. Let's see. So now we should be able to say solve part 1. What do we return? Oh, we return the number here. So parse. We'll change this to run current file and give it a run. 98. We get an answer. Nice. We got a gold star. All right. What do you get if you multiply the values? One chip in each of outputs. So I basically need to figure out what chip is going to outputs 0, 1, and 2. I don't really have a good way to test this because there is no output 0, 1, and 2 in our test data. So I'm kind of just going to skip tests on this, I think. Is there a way to test this? No, I don't see a way to test this easily. We probably could generate some fake data and stuff, but like this video has been going kind of long already, so I'm probably just going to we're going to feel a little lazy here. Let's do this. Let's take part 1. And again, I could refactor this into its own thing and blah, 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 but I don't, at this point, I kind of just want to, I think we're actually really close to a solve. So what do we need to do here? We're going to pass the bots in. We don't need the target anymore. We're going to need a queue. We're also going to need to track outputs. And I'm just going to track the bottom 3. So I'm going to do none times 3. Now, well, I'm still going to get it off the queue. I'm going to get the bot. If it's not ready, I'm going to continue. I don't have a target anymore, so I can get rid of this. Now, if the L type is a bot, I got to do a thing. Elif bot dot. So now I know the L type is an output. So if I say bot dot low in, I guess I'm just gonna say, I guess I'll use the in thing here. 0, 1, 2. Or I really wish what I can just do. I'm gonna cheat a little because I know I'm using ints. I know. Well, actually, hold on. We'll just hold on. Pause. Save this. I can come in here and let's make a test. We can say, are we gonna assume assert all b dot low is greater than or equal to 0 for b in bots dot values? Can I assume that? That's my question. 5. Still passing. So can I do the same with high? Because if I can assume it's all greater than 0, then I can start to do. Sweet. Okay, so now I can come in here and just say if bot.low is less than 3, then what am I going to do? I'm going to say output.bot.low is equal to puts.bot.low is equal to, and I want to make bot.chips sub-0, and I'll do the same thing here. Elif bot.high, so if the high one is less than 3, so if it's going to one of my outputs I care about, I'll say outputs.bot.high equals bot.chips sub-1. So I pass the chip. And the last, now I still need an exit for this thing. What I can do is I can say if, I think I can just say, well, let's say O for O in outputs. And what I really want to do is say O is not none. So now I've set all of them, and I can just say all. Now I'm basically saying if all 3 of my outputs are not none, I'm going to say return math.prod outputs. I'm going to need to import math. And basically, because we're assuming this logic's still good, let's run this. Our tests are going to still pass. Oh, and our result here, 4042, it worked. So basically, just to sum that up, basically I said I'm just gonna track the output bins now. So now before if I was going to an output bin, I just ignored it because I didn't care. I only cared about bot comparisons. But now I do want to track the output bins, but only if they're the 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3, or 0, 1, or 2. So I just make that check and set it, and as soon as I find my answer, I can quit and get an answer. So this is kind of a fun challenge. Went pretty long, but yeah, hopefully you learned something. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.